Right. Answers underground. That is the title of this passage. Burying greenhouse gases to slow global warming. So let's deal with these questions. From 1 to 6, we have matching names or matching features. That's 1 to 6. Then 7 to 9, we have matching information. Then 10 to 13, we have true, false, not given. So let me take it paragraph by paragraph. That is the approach I'm going to use here. So for paragraph A, one way to slow global warming is to take the greenhouse gases that cause it and bury them. That is the idea behind projects now underway to capture emissions from power plants and factories and force them underground or deep into the ocean. There, proponents argue they could be trapped for thousands of years. Okay, let's see. No name was mentioned, so I can't answer anything from 1 to 6. What of number 7? Examples of sequestration already in use. Nothing about already in use. An example of putting carbon dioxide emissions to use. No. Current examples of error. No. Nothing can be answered from 7 to 9. Both developed and developing nations have decided no. A growing economy will use no. Capturing carbon dioxide has become fine. No. More forests need to be no. Nothing can be answered based on paragraph A. Paragraph B. This concept, known as carbon sequestration, is already being used by oil companies. Hold on. See sequestration here. It's already being used by oil companies to improve the efficiency of oil wells. And now engineers have begun exploring ways to capture carbon dioxide emissions from power plants to reduce their impact on the environment. At a recent conference, delegates from 14 industrialized and developing countries agreed to engage. Hold on. Both developed and developing nations have decided to investigate carbon dioxide sequestration. Agreed to engage in cooperative research into capturing and storing carbon dioxide. Yes, number 10 is true. That number 10 is true. Number 7, examples of sequestration already in use. They didn't give us examples in this paragraph B. They didn't mention any name in this paragraph B. And none of these names showed up in paragraph B. Paragraph C. The goal is to stabilize emissions of greenhouse gases that trap heat in the atmosphere. Over the past century, airborne carbon dioxide concentrations have risen nearly a third, according to Scott Clara. I can see Scott Clara here. Carbon dioxide emissions have risen. That's what Clara said. Number 1 doesn't sound like that. Number 2 doesn't sound like that. Number 3 doesn't sound like that. Number 4 doesn't sound like that. Number 5, the significant increase in carbon dioxide concentration over the last 100 years, over the past century. Can you see paraphrasing? So this number 5 can be matched to Scott Clara. Scott Clara is option A. So number 5 is going to be A. Number 5 is going to be A. Scott Clara is option A. So let's go on. Sequestration manager at the U.S. National Energy Technology Laboratory. Unless emissions are slashed by 2/3 worldwide, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change predicts that concentrations will rise to double the levels of the early 1700s before the Industrial Revolution. These increased levels of carbon dioxide-based compounds in the atmosphere are believed to be the cause of rising temperatures and sea levels around the world. This organization is on the list, is option B. It's telling us what will happen. That's what this organization said in the passage. That what? The concentration of carbon dioxide will double. So, number 4, no. Number 3, no. Number 2, no. Number 1, no. Nothing can be answered based on that. What of 789? Examples? No. An example of putting carbon dioxide? No. Current examples of environmental harm? They didn't give an example of environmental harm. Okay, hold on. Rising temperatures and sea levels. Current examples of environmental harm attributed to carbon dioxide in the air. That's paragraph C. Number 9 it should be C, except I see another place where they mention more examples. Number 11 cannot be answered. Okay? 12 and 13 cannot be answered. Paragraph D. Limiting emissions, however, is not an easy undertaking since increased energy consumption is a key to economic growth. 2/3 of the world's power generating capacity expected to come into use by 2030 has not been constructed yet, according to the International Energy Agency. The developing world will be particularly important. China and India alone are expected to account for 2/3 of global increase in coal usage over the next 15 years. The developing world will be particularly important. Important in what? In the increasing use of energy. That's what they started talking about in this paragraph. So that's sounding like number 11. A growing economy will use more power. Use more power. So number 11 should be true. Number 11 should be true. Then let me see examples of sequestration. Examples of food and no, 7 and 8 cannot be answered. Did they mention any name here? This paragraph D. International Energy Agency. Yes. Option C. What did the International Energy Agency say? 2/3 of the world's power generating capacity is expected to come into use. Has not been constructed yet. So 1 cannot be answered based on that. 2 cannot be answered. 3 cannot be answered. 4 cannot be answered. None of those remaining questions can be answered. Paragraph E now. Solutions are being sought. Work is being undertaken with alternatives to fossil fuels such as wind and solar energy. But it will be a long time before these alternative sources play a major role in fulfilling the world's energy needs. Geophysicist Klaus Lackner, that's on the list, Klaus Lackner. Klaus Lackner points out that around 85% of the world's energy is derived from fossil fuels, the cheapest and the most plentiful energy source available. And the developing world in particular is unlikely to give them up. That is why many scientists support sequestration. Okay? Number 6 doesn't sound like Klaus Lackner. Number 4 doesn't sound like Klaus Lackner. Number 3. Yes, number 3 sounds like it. The reasons why products such as oil and gas continue to be popular energy sources. The reasons. What are the reasons? What are the reasons given here? Did they give reasons here? It is the cheapest and the most plentiful available. 2 reasons, that's enough. So number 3 can be matched to clause. Number 3 should be D. Number 3 should be D. Number 3 should be D. This one, I can't answer 7, 8, 9. I can't answer 7, 8, 9. What of 12 and 13? No. Let's move on. Paragraph F now. However, several problems must be resolved before sequestration plays a key role in low carbon future. One is the cost of capturing carbon dioxide. A second is storing the gas safely once it has been captured. Today, it costs about $50 to extract and store a ton of carbon dioxide from a power plant, which raises the cost of producing electricity by 30 to 80%. Lackner argues that it is too expensive to adapt existing plants to capture carbon dioxide. Instead, he recommends that carbon capturing capacity be built into future plants. Economic incentives are needed to encourage companies to identify low-cost carbon sequestration solutions. A government-supported program in the US has enabled some factories to partially capture carbon emissions, which they, which they then sell for various uses, including carbonate. Ah, that's food. Where's that one about food? Number 8. I saw it in paragraph F. Yes. Number 8 is in paragraph F. However, there are no power plants ready for full carbon future. Lackner was mentioned here. Lackner was saying that something is too expensive. Can you say Lackner here? He said that something is too expensive, and then he recommends that you should build those things into the future, whatever. Number 6 doesn't sound like that. Number 4, industrialized country. I didn't say that. Number 3, no. Number 1, the cost implications of fitting plants. Yes, number 1 can be matched to Lackner. Number 1 is D. Number 1 is D. Number 1 is D, matched to Lackner. What of the true false not given? Capturing carbon has become financially attractive. Has become. No. The guy says that it's expensive. It has not become. See, they are still trying to identify low-cost carbon sequestration solutions. Economic incentives are needed to encourage. It has not become attractive. It's still very costly. Number 12 should be false. The passage contradicts that. Paragraph G, once the carbon has been captured, it must be stored. Natural carbon sinks such as forests and wetlands can remove some carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, but not nearly enough. Carbon dioxide could be dumped into the bottom of the ocean, where the pressure would keep it pinned to the seabed in liquid form for decades. But that has serious long-term environmental risks. David Hawkins from the natural David Hawkins. Okay, option E. Warns that the carbon dioxide could radically alter the chemical balance in the ocean, with potentially harmful consequences for marine life. Okay, this is human life, option C, and question 6. Which one talks about? Yes, number 2. Number 2 can be matched to David Hawkins. That's option E. Number 2 is going to be E. Number 2 can be matched to David Hawkins. Then, number 7, examples of sequestrations already in use. I've not seen that yet. Then, more forests need to be planted. I saw something about forests. Here they said that natural carbon sinks, such as forests, but not nearly enough. More forests need to be planted to improve the atmosphere. I've not seen that yet. Most likely that one is going to be not given. A few promising attempts at underground carbon sequestration are currently on the way. Few examples. So that's number 7, paragraph H. Canada, an oil company, is pumping liquefied carbon dioxide into oil wells to force more oil to the surface and to boost recovery by 10 to 15%. The company gets carbon dioxide via a pipeline from North Dakota in the US, where the gas is captured from a synthetic fuel plant. In another instance in the North Sea, the Norwegian energy firm is injecting carbon dioxide waste from its natural gas. Okay, so they gave 2 examples here. The matching names. Okay, let's go on. Paragraph I. Clearly, storing large amounts of gas underground raises environmental fears. Environmentalists argue that more research is needed on potential storage sites, such as oil and gas reservoirs and coal, seems unsuitable for mining to ensure they offer long-term solutions. The Worldwide Fund for Nature, that's option F here, has argued that the primary risk of underground storage is that dangerously large volumes of carbon dioxide might escape and people might become asphyxiated. That's about lack of oxygen. Look at the meaning of asphyxia here. Lack of oxygen to the brain. Can you see? If you say somebody gets asphyxiated, that means oxygen supply to the brain was stopped or interrupted for a long time. That's number 6. Number 6 can be matched to F. That's attributed to World Wide Fund, Australia. Number 7 to 9 has been answered. Have been answered. 7 to 9 have been answered. More forest needed. I've not seen anything like that. Paragraph J now, the last paragraph. Little progress in slashing global greenhouse gases can be achieved without involving developing countries. But for now, carbon sequestration is not their priority because of the increased cost this would add to energy production. Hawkins is showing up again. That's option E. Hawkins argues that to encourage developing nations to use sequestration, the developed nations will have to provide assistance. That's number 4. Number 4 is matched to E. Number 4 is going to be E. Hawkins. It suggests a multilateral initiative in which developed nations, perhaps by purchasing carbon credit from poorer countries, finance the difference between the cost of regular coal-fired power plants and one that captures carbon emissions. That is, the rich, who will remain the world's biggest polluters for years to come, would buy the right to emit carbon from the poor, who would use the proceeds to build better plants. So, I've answered 1 to 6. I've answered 7, 8, 9. This issue of forests, I didn't see anything like that. I think it should be not given. If they say the answer is true, then they're going to be basing that true on this part where it says that, but not nearly enough. But I don't think they should do that. Anyhow, let me submit and see what my score is gonna be. Wow, all my answers are correct. 13 over 13, but 9. All right, thank you very much for your time. Watch out for the next lesson.